You're watching Let the Quran Speak. Now we answer questions from you, our viewers. If you have a question, visit our website, QuranSpeaks.com. Dr. Shabir, the question is, how are halal and kosher similar or different? Can Muslims eat kosher food?
Mm-hmm. So to answer the last question first, basically the kosher is basically halal for Muslims as well.
Okay.
The main concern for Muslims with regards to meat is that the meat should be slaughtered in the name of God. But the Quran says that only 4 things are haram or impermissible with regards to meat when for Muslims to eat. It is either that which is already found dead, or blood, or the meat of animal. I have to think about the Arabic.
Pig, yes.
Swine's flesh, and that which has been
slaughtered for another
dedicated to altars,
yes,
right?
For another god,
to
yes.
God other than God, right? The meat of Jews and Christians then can be considered to be permissible for Muslims simply because they do not fall into one of these categories. Now, one might say, but what about uttering the name of God when we slaughter? Well, it's a sunnah, a practice for the Muslims to do that. But according to the Shafi'i scholars, it is not that which makes the meat permissible. What makes the meat permissible is that it doesn't fall into one of those 4 prohibited categories.
Oh, okay.
The Hanafi school, on the other hand, and this is an interpretation within the broader body of Muslim scholarship, it is the Hanafi school in particular that says that the name of God must be recited at the time of slaughter. Otherwise, it does not become permissible. And yet, they realize that it cannot be such a strict requirement, because they said that if a Muslim is performing the slaughter and the Muslim had forgotten to pronounce the name of God, it is still permissible. So, which means that we're back to the main idea that it is only the 4 things which are impermissible. And reciting the name of God at the time of slaughtering for Muslims is a sunnah. It is a recommended practice. It is our traditional practice. But omitting the name does not render the meat impermissible. And of course, we recite the name of God at the time of eating, just before eating. Bismillah we start with. And so in any case, we have recited the name of God before that which we are eating. Now, with the Jews and Christians in particular, and more broadly the people of the book, as the Quran terms them, their meats are said to be permissible. The Quran says, وَطَعَامُ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ, the food of those who have been given the scripture before you. So those are all permissible for you. So why would the Quran make such a blanket declaration to include Jews and Christians? Well, if you start with our Christian friends, though they subscribe to the idea of the Trinity, mainstream Christians do, nonetheless, when it comes to slaughtering, they do not utter any name of God. They do not have a ritual process of slaughtering. Now, as for our Jewish friends, they have some rituals, and not all of them recite some formula at the time of slaughtering as part of their ritual. But those who do recite a formula do not pronounce a name other than the name of the God that we worship, because for Jews and Muslims, we are all strict monotheists, so we believe that there is only one God. One prayer that is easily found on the web says, pronounces some praise of God before the slaughter by saying, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, which means blessed be you, the Lord, our God. Melech HaOlam, which means the Lord or the King of the universe, almost like Maliki Yawmiddin. They're praising the same God that we worship. And so they're not reciting the name of another God. And so this is not a meat that is dedicated to a God other than God. So that, remember, the 4th item, right? That which is dedicated to other than God. So that's why the kosher meat can be consumed by Muslims. Now, kosher regulations are stricter than halal regulations. So halal regulations for Muslims are, do not have too many requirements. With kosher, there are more requirements. You cannot mix meat and dairy. You cannot eat fish that do not have scales. You cannot eat animals that do not have cloven hoofs and do not chew their cud, and so on. So they have more restrictions. So it follows that basically if it's kosher, then it's halal enough, right? And
except for the alcohol.
Except for the alcohol,
yes.
Of course, because they are allowed to consume alcohol to a certain extent, and we're not allowed at all. So, see if the cooking has been done with alcohol, that presents a problem. There's also some question about some cheeses because cheese can be made with rennet or with pepsin, and pepsin comes from pigs, and there may be an interpretation that says that even though it comes from pigs, it is permissible. Of course, this is like detailed interpretation, whereas Muslim scholars generally say that if it comes from pig, then this is impermissible. So we have some finer points like this, but on the main, we can say that if it is kosher, then it is also halal. If it's halal, it's not necessarily kosher, because kosher is stricter than halal.
Thank you for that, Dr. Shabir. Very illuminating.
You're welcome.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Muslim Media Hub, the new home of Let the Quran Speak.
Here we spread positivity and good. We help people experience the beauty of Islam and help them appreciate and understand Muslims.
This beautiful building we purchased at cost $2.3 million.
Yeah, we've already raised a third of that money, and with your help, inshallah, we can pay off the rest.
So we're looking for people who can give $1,000 each. If you can be part of the select group, that's amazing.
Otherwise, just please give whatever you can. Every dollar counts.
It's our collective responsibility to share the message of Islam with our fellow human beings. Please help us continue this good work.
It's a sadaqah jariyah, something that will continue to be a benefit to the Muslim community long after Safiyyah and I are gone.
Please support our work at muslimmediahub.com.
Your support is zakat eligible and tax deductible.
May Allah bless you and your loved ones today and always. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.